So I'd like to tell you about a D&D session I had a while back that one of the players told me afterward. He said, "That was the best time I've ever had, but don't ever do that again." So here's the story. So what happened was I had a group of 6 adventurers, and they were traveling on a 2-day journey to find an abandoned monastery on the coast. And along the way, they had to stay the night, and this is kind of a grassy dune sort of area. And of course, they make camp and they set a watch. And after about, I think the second or third watch, it's in the middle of the night, a strange fog came in. And during this time, the fog smelled kind of funny. I described it as it smelled kind of like almonds. And everybody fell asleep. And this, of course, was by my design. I didn't roll any dice or whatever. I just kind of told them this is what happened. And then I rolled a d6 to pick a random player in the group. And I said, you wake up, you have crawled away underneath some bushes, and you've got a really bad headache, and you crawl back to camp and you see lots of footprints. And you see that all of the rest of the party has gone. You don't know where any of them are. You scout around, you find some horse prints and some cart marks, cart tracks and whatnot leading away. And this is during the night, it's dark, and they follow these tracks, and after about a mile or so, they come upon a pair of slaver wagons. Now, what I did was I told the group of players, everybody but this one player, I want you to take your character sheet, turn it face down, and for the next 30 minutes, you're not allowed to talk. And I'm telling this to the players, so you're probably kind of seeing where this is going. 5 of the party were captured by slavers with a sleeping fog, and they found themselves bound, gagged, and blindfolded in the back of these 2 wagons. The other player managed to escape and is now kind of a free agent, if you will, and their job is to rescue their comrades. It's at night. The slavers don't realize that this person is out there, and so what happened was this one player was put into a position where they were responsible for the fate of the entire party. And again, you can kind of see where this is going. It was 30 minutes, I timed it, of intense tactics, stealth. The player did a masterful job of eliminating the slavers one by one, kind of in an ambush format. They had a little bit of magic available to them, and they were able to successfully rescue their comrades. And then when the others got out, they rampaged the slaver carts. They were able to get a fair bit of treasure and some really cool magic items. So they got some cool stuff out of it. And then they proceeded on with the campaign. Now, afterward, when the players were talking with me about it, one of them, like I said, came up to me and said that had been one of the most intense sessions they had ever played. During that 30 minutes, the players whose characters were captured were true to their word. They didn't say anything. They didn't speak or communicate with the one player who was still a free agent. And it was intense. It was quite intense. And several of them were sweating because it was a kind of a do or die search, situation. And they all said that it was incredibly intense. It was very emotionally intense. And it was extremely memorable for them. They all really enjoyed it. But they all said to me, I hope that never happens again. Don't ever do that again. So what I learned from that experience was, and this is as a dungeon master, I learned that you can create some very, very emotionally strong sessions where the players themselves experience very intense emotions. And you have to be careful about doing that. And my example of what happened is kind of the counterexample. It's one of those, don't do what I do. Don't do what I did. Because I took away the player's agency. I think that's kind of one of the top rules that I have as a dungeon master. And I realized what I was doing at the time, but I knew that I was only going to do it once. I wanted to pull it off. And again, it was memorable, and they still talk about it to this day. But I took away the player's agency. I took away their ability to act. The intensity was there, the emotions were there, the stakes were high, and the reward, they all said, was quite worth it, but they hope to never go through that again. So it's kind of like watching an intense horror movie. You enjoyed yourself and you were scared, but you don't want to be that scared again. So kind of my lesson is, if you're a dungeon master and you have an opportunity to give your players an intense emotional experience, think about how you're doing it, and don't use taking away your players' sense of agency and free will to accomplish it. If you do, be very judicious about it and very careful about how you do it. And even when you do kind of momentarily take away their agency, give them a way to get out of it. Give them the capacity and the capability to restore their agency and restore their freedom. That would probably be a much more memorable experience. In that particular scenario, I did not allow the players who were held captive the opportunity to get out of it. And if I had given them some roles and some opportunities for tactics and things to try to get out of it themselves, that probably would have been a lot better. But again, my lesson is, don't take away the player agency. Don't do like I did. Anyway, hope this advice helps you out.